eighth grade year, I lose my dog. My dog died. I can get in the story about how it died, but it's not relative to the story. But her name was Bambi. She was a black lab. She died. We were depressed. Me and my brother were super depressed because it was a family dog. The dog had been with us since we were little. In fact, the morning that Bambi died, I'll never forget this, because when things in life happen, you remember exactly the image where everything was. I'm eating my Fruit Loops, and a Fruit Loop bounces off and hits Bambi. Now I take another bite, and I'm thinking, okay, Bambi, how come you didn't eat that? You always do. She's dead. It was awful. As an eighth grader, that ruins a day. that ruins a long time. So I go into school depressed, blah blah blah. Long story short, a classmate of mine had full-blooded Shelties. Well, the dogs got together, figured that one out, and they have puppies. Okay?
Your dog and that dog? Oh.
No, this classmate. My dog's dead.
She was dead.
Well,
So stop bringing Bambi up, okay?
Joel, I'm pretty sure if something gets pregnant and another thing dies, it's still going to be pregnant and have the thing.
No. So my dog dies. A classmate of mine has 2 Shelties, male and female. They have puppies, okay? This classmate of mine and her mom, they realized how devastated me, my brother, my mom's a teacher at the school, how upset we all were. We just lost our dog. So they willingly give us a free full-blooded Sheltie. Now these dogs can be expensive. They're like the Lassie dog. Real cute dog. I'll never forget the day after school my mom said, look, Mrs. So-and-so said we can come over and they're going to give us a dog, right? I was like, are you serious? Let's do this. So we go, we pull up to the house, they're outside. She actually has a sign where she's selling them, but she's giving us this one. So we go up and she's like, feel free to pick whichever one's out. And people are like there about to buy these dogs. She's like, but you better hurry. So we're looking around and I pick one up and I like fell in love with it. I'm like, this one. And my mom's like, keep looking. I was like, all right. So I set it back down and like that one just kind of like sat. And I think that's why I liked it, because all the other ones were like jumping around and that kind of annoyed me a little bit. So I was like, this one's fine. She's like, no. So there's this other one and he's jumping like crazy. And my mom's like, I think that one's perfect for you and your brother. Get that one. And the lady's like, oh, Hoss? It's like, his name's Hoss? She's like, yeah. I was like, all right, I'll rename him. But yeah, so I get Hoss. We get to keep Hoss. We talk to her about food and whatever kind. They had the shots or whatever that they needed at that point, but still needed shots. So I take Hoss home. I'm in my living room and I'm playing with Hoss right after school. My dad doesn't get off work till like 5:30 at this point. My brother's in high school. I think he was at academic team at the time. Don't laugh, I was on academic team. So he isn't home yet. So I'm in my living room and I'm playing with Hoss. Now Hoss is excited. Of course, I just told you that story where it's going nuts with a bunch of people there. Imagine me and my mom in my living room just playing with Hoss. Hoss is jumping up and down like he's having a good time. First thing I say, okay, we need to rename this dog. I'm looking at him. He's cute. He's brown, white. Let's go with Copper. So we come up. Copper's his name. Little Copper Joe Bishop. Yes, middle name. Don't make fun of me. So yeah. So Copper. So me and Copper are playing. We're having a good time. My mom's like, that name's perfect. She's like, he really loves you. You can tell because he's a little dog. So just think about this. A little baby dog has his first interaction with someone who's showing them attention, showing them love, spending time with them, and the dog grows close to me. I was the first one to initiate contact. I'm spending time with this dog. This dog and me are tight now, right? So all of a sudden, now this dog wasn't like a miniature baby. He was bigger, but he was still small. So my dad gets home at work at 5:30 and he's like, where's he at? My dad loves dogs. It's like his best friend. Dog's man's best friend or whatever. So my dad comes in and he gets down and he's playing with Copper. Matt's home at this time. He's playing with Copper. And my dad says to me, he goes, Andy, let's take him for a walk. I'm like, yes, let's do that. But we had Bambi's old leashes. Now Bambi was a bigger dog, but we still had that leash. So what we did is we put it around little Copper's neck and we just kind of did a double round. Just so it would be tight enough, but not choking it. So all of a sudden my dad's like, what do you want to go? Up or down the street? I was like, let's let Copper decide. And so Copper's just like nuts. He goes up the street. So my dad and I walk up the street with Copper Joe. And we're walking up and there's fire hydrants, so it kind of runs, and then the neighbor dog starts barking. So then we're like, oh, let's go back down this way. So we go back down the street, and now we're in front of my house, and my dad says, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep walking down the street, Or do you want to go in? Do you think Copper's had enough? And of course, I'm young. I'm like your age. I'm like, yeah, let's keep walking, right? So we keep walking, and we're walking, and all of a sudden, and I'll never forget this, my dad walked him up the street. He let me walk him down the street. So it was just kind of like that feeling that I own it. You get it? Like Copper's mine. I'm in control here. Okay? I have the leash. If I yank that dog, it's going this way. If I yank the dog that way, it's going that way. So I'm walking Copper Joe, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm young. I'm fit at the time. I'm fit. I'm like, I'm going to run Copper. Me and Copper are going to run, and I'm going to beat this dog. It's young, but I think I got size on him, so I'm going to get him, right? So all of a sudden, I'm walking with my dad. I'm like, Dad, I'm going to walk Copper, or I'm going to run with Copper. He's like, all right, just don't go too fast or whatever. So I start running with Copper. So me and Copper start running down the street, and like, bro's keeping up with me. Like, Copper is like legit right there. So I run a little faster. I'm like, I'm not going to get smoked by this dog, right? So all of a sudden, I'm running. Uh-oh.
The dog came out of the leash.
The leash flies up in the air, and there's no Copper. Now, like I said, my dad got home at 5:30 after playing with the dog. The sun's going down. So it's kind of nighttime now. It's nighttime enough for cars to have their lights on. So the leash is in the air, but I don't notice that at first. My dad goes, Ann! That's what he says. That's what the people call him. Ann! I'm like, yeah. And he's like, where's Copper? And I was like, I don't know. So I look down, Copper's not by my side. Okay, so just visualize. I have control of Copper. Copper's going my way, the way I want him to go. He's close to me because I own him. He's mine. Okay, all of a sudden, he's not there. Okay, now, the dog's first reaction is probably like, what do? I'm free. I can do whatever I want. So, I'm looking for Copper. I can't find Copper. My dad can't find Copper. We're on the sidewalk. We look out in the middle of the street. There's Copper. I live on a busy street. A very busy street. So, naturally, I say, Copper, come here, boy. He doesn't do anything. So I call out to him. He ignores me. But he doesn't know his new name yet. He knows Hoss. He doesn't know Copper. But I try to call him out. I say, Copper, come here. Copper doesn't come. My dad's like, Copper, get over here. Copper doesn't come. All of a sudden, Copper starts running up the street where our house was. Their instincts, dog's instinct, would be to go back to the place where they somewhat knew. But he was still confused. So he runs up the street in the middle of the street. All of a sudden, I'm screaming, Copper, no! Copper, no! I start running. All of a sudden, I see bright lights. And I'm like, uh-oh. So my dad starts screaming. My dad's like, Copper! And I'm like, Copper, no! And so I run, and naturally, I love this dog. I've only known it this one day, though. I want to protect this dog. I go out in the middle of the street. I have my hands up, and I'm like, stop! 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 And the car can't hear me because the windows are up, so this car keeps coming down, and Copper keeps going right towards it. Right towards it. So I yell, I'm screaming, stop, stop, stop. By the grace of God, the car stops. I run up and I grab Copper and I hug him. And I grab him close to me. I'm like, Copper, how could he run away? He doesn't know better, but I'm like, Copper, I love you. I don't want you to get hurt. Don't do that. Don't do that. The car just kind of winds off, and I'm carrying Copper back up, and I just have him close to me because he ran astray, but I saw him. I knew. I followed him. I saw what was going to happen to him, and I tried to prevent it. By the grace of God, it was prevented. That's what our walk in Christianity is like. Because let me tell you guys something. You will go astray. You're not going to be confined to a leash. You do have limited free will. So you're going to be at those parties Friday nights. You're going to be going away. And God's going to see you. He's going to say, stop. Don't run. Don't go towards that stuff that can harm you. There's a car coming your way that can kill you. Don't do it. Here's the question, though. Is it going to stop? Is that car going to stop for you? Like it stopped for Copper? Or is it possible that that drug or that whatever could kill you? And then where's your chance? God's there. God can see it all happening. But what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like I said at the beginning of this, Paul says, for me to live is Christ and to die is gain. So even if you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus and you just kind of go astray, but you know Jesus, sin in life is going to come at you. And here's the thing, you might get killed, but you're in a better place. My fear is for those people who don't know Jesus and are just running towards traffic just like Copper blindly. Because here's the thing, God rescue you. You've had these addictions, maybe you've tried this drug, done this, drank a little bit, whatever, and you haven't been killed. Something tragic hasn't happened. Praise God. Because let me tell you, you keep going that way, traffic's going to keep coming at you. It doesn't stop on the avenue. It's not going to stop in your life. It's not. Things are going to be coming at you fast. What's your protection?